Welcome to Education 101 with your host, Eric Wolfram. Education 101 is about the amazing education community we have in the greater Spokane area. We highlight the outstanding programs, teachers, supporters, and opportunities of the education community in the Spokane region. Education 101 is brought to you in part by STCU. Here's Eric.
And welcome to Education 101. I'm the host, Eric Wolfram. Today we're going to be talking about Spokane MESA, and we're here with Brenda Van Slyke. So welcome to the show today. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate that.
So we're going to talk a little bit about Spokane MESA. That's where you work, and so it's a really great program, and I think it's something that the viewers should have the opportunity to kind of find out more about, because you guys are doing some great work out there, not just in the region, but I know throughout the state and probably nationally as well. Mm-hmm. And so I'm excited to hear more about it. So to start off, can you tell us, MESA is an acronym, so tell us a little bit about what MESA is and what it stands for, and then a little bit of the philosophy and what you guys do.
All right. MESA is Mathematics, Engineering, and Science Achievement.
Okay.
And actually, MESA itself is a national program that's been around since the 70s. It started down in California. So it's been around quite a while.
Yeah, it has.
And it's in 11 states now. And mostly they're western states and Hawaii, and then a couple of east side states. So it's pretty exciting. And Washington, we've actually had it here since the early 80s, and it's been here in Spokane since the early 90s. So it's been here like over, I believe it's like over 27 years now.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I know, I've been at the ESD for, 11 years now, and I know that was when I came in contact with it, really was working more on that regional level, because I think there were some MESA projects out there or districts that we worked with that really had strong MESA pieces. So 27 years, I didn't realize that. That's pretty amazing. So 11 states, is that something that, again, we'll get into what you guys are doing, and I, just from my experiences, I know that it's some really good work. Is that something that you see getting bigger? I would love to see 50 states.
Right. Oh, absolutely. And it's funny that you asked that, because actually one of my coordinators, she actually lives in Idaho, in the Hayden Lake area. Okay. And she commutes, here for work, but she's really wanting it to be in Idaho also. And I know that I think they had kind of applied for it. We're trying to get it, and then never really finished. But I think it's a wonderful program that definitely, like you said, 50 states should be doing this.
They should be.
Because there really isn't anything else in the nation like it.
I didn't realize Idaho wasn't one of the states.
It's not.
That's interesting.
It's not.
Huh.
We've got, here on the west side, we do have Washington, Oregon, and California are all part.
Okay. That's good. So you talked about MESA, mathematics, engineering,
science.
And achievement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you guys also, I know one of the programs or one of the reasons why this is such a special program is there is some target audiences that go along with this. So who are those audiences that you guys are really shooting for in the schools?
Yeah, well, with the MESA program, actually when this was started back in the 70s, we know that there are underrepresented groups in all STEM fields. And actually, MESA existed before the term STEM was even around. And so what they were really striving for is to get more diversity in the STEM fields, and very specifically like engineering.
Okay.
And as we know, engineering is a huge field itself.
No.
But they, historically, the groups that are underrepresented are women and several minority groups, including African American, Native American, Latinos, and Pacific Islanders.
Right.
And so those are the groups that we target, although we really don't turn anybody away.
That's great.
And we know in our area those populations aren't really big here in this area, but you would be surprised. We serve over 500 students just here out of Spokane Mesa, and over 90% of those students fall into those categories that we.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that makes me wonder, how big of a region does Spokane Mesa touch?
Well, actually, like I said, it's been here for 27 years, and up until just, I believe it was 3 or 4 years ago, they only served Spokane School District.
Okay.
And so that doesn't include like Central Valley, West Valley, all those, just Spokane School District. And a few years ago they reached out to Cheney.
Okay.
So now we have the Cheney Middle Schools and High School.
Okay.
And then this year we brought on Inchalim.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I was wondering, because I know that's where you were at before.
Yeah, that's where I taught math for several years. And once became a part of this program, I was like, the kids that they're really targeting and looking for aren't necessarily right in Spokane.
Right.
And it's a little harder over here on our side of the state because we're so rural and so big. So, with the budget that we had, it was really hard to go outside of that.
Right.
And so we've really been figuring out how do we stretch ourselves and get out there where the kids are. And luckily, having an in with Inchalim made it a little easier.
Absolutely.
So we're hoping to be working with the the Colville tribe to see how we
That'd
can.
be great.
Yeah, definitely. I'm
great.
so excited, and I would love to see our program also reach out to the Spokane tribe and the Kalispels, which are also very close.
Right.
Well, okay, within rural talking.
Sure. Yes, absolutely.
So.
Well, and I think that's a very important piece. So we start to think about, again, that underrepresented populations for STEM, for science, for math, engineering pieces. We can't forget those rural districts. And so how do we get out there and make sure, and I know that's one of the charges from an ESD perspective, is being able to kind of say, how do we support some of those small districts out there that don't have some of the resources that a larger district might have too. So, yeah.
Right, exactly, because it's not like, they are able to help us with in-kind and buses and subs and just things like that. But you're right, as far as their resources go, I think it's been really nice because we were able to bring in the piece of bringing all of the equipment to them, supplies for their projects and things like that, and then bringing them to field experiences and field trips outside of their area.
Right. So that brings us to that whole idea of what are some of the things that you guys do for these students in your area?
Well, we're really lucky. I have to say, I was a teacher for quite a few years, and I really love that. I miss working directly with the kids, but this program is just so amazing on how many kids we touch and the way that we get to help impact their choices for the future. So what we do is we have there's two different MESA models. There's the after school program model, and then there's the in-class model. Mostly we do in-class model where we have a MESA class, whether it's math, science. We're hoping to get into some of the CTE classes.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
So we've been working with Spokane School District with that. And so what we do is we are able then to bring them to field trips. One of the trips that they've gone on for several years is Grand Coulee Dam.
Oh, yeah.
Where they get to go inside the dam. And they get to see all the turbines and the engineering that goes into a dam like that.
Yeah.
Because we know that Grand Coulee Dam touches a lot of the nation as far as providing electricity and stuff like that.
Right.
So super exciting. The kids really, really love that one. And that's just one of them. We also bring them to college campuses so that they get to experience that and they can start looking at the programs that they have.
Right. So if you're doing in-class work, does that mean that you guys have people assigned at each school, or a district like with Inchalim? Is it a person that's assigned to the district? How's that work?
Actually, what it is we find teachers in the schools.
Okay.
Here in the state of Washington itself, we work with 85 teachers in 56 different school districts throughout the state. And what we do is we find a teacher, a science teacher that would be willing to take this on. So if you have just like, a biology class, we call it a MESA biology class. So everything that you would get from your regular biology class, you get. But once a week, they do a MESA day that week, and where we're able to come in and we start working with them on, coding and different things like that, so they can start to work on their engineering project, which is another big part of our program that we get to bring into the schools.
Right.
It's called the National Engineering Program or project, and for several years, what the kids did was they all kind of worked on the same thing. This is the first year they really opened it up to a human-centered problem that the kids had to find who their audience would be, research why this is a problem, and then start to come up with solutions for it. Then the kids from there worked on prototypes for that, and they then came to our regional MESA day to show their prototypes, do a technical interview, and they also wrote technical papers. Really amazing stuff.
Huh.
Yeah.
So how many kids were in that?
Actually, this year we have teams from anywhere from 2 to 4 kids. Usually average around 3 kids per team.
Okay.
And we had, it was over 40-something high school teams and 24 middle school teams, so darn near 70.
Wow.
70 teams competed.
Yeah.
Then what happens is here we have 1 high school and 1 middle school team that then advances to state. And we have 6 MESA centers in the state, so that means that 12 teams then at state. 6 high school, 6 middle school. And the winners of those then go on to nationals. This year, nationals is in Philadelphia. And awesome. Last year, we took our middle school team to nationals, which was in Philadelphia. And it was so amazing. And some of our students that we hadn't really traveled anywhere. So for them to get to go to Philadelphia, and we got to go see the Liberty Bell and all those really cool things, to be perfectly honest, I had never seen. Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Running the Rocky stairs were just the kids were like, whoa. And they knew Rocky. Everybody knows Rocky, right? And the statues there and the stairs are there, and it was just amazing. It was pretty cool.
That's wonderful. I want to hear more about this. I want to hear more about, you mentioned the centers, the 6 centers throughout the state. Let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, let's get back talking more about MESA and some of the great work you guys do.
Okay, awesome.
They say it takes a community to raise a family. It also takes one to build a business. I came to Spokane 12 years ago as a Whitworth student, and I planned to leave after graduation. But the more I got to know this community, the more I wanted to become a part of it. My husband and I have built our business in Spokane, and now we're raising our family here too. We operate a consulting company that provides creative business development strategies. Our approach is holistic and dependent on intentional connections and relationships. And no one understands connections and relationships better than GSI. They direct momentum towards investments in our community, provide resources that help business leaders connect, and they're dedicated and passionate about making Spokane great. GSI gives me the confidence to build my business here because they believe every organization, even a small one like mine, adds big value to our community. With GSI's help, Spokane will be a place my son will want to build his career too. I'm Eva Marquette, owner of Freshview. We're creating something greater with Greater Spokane Incorporated.
Hi, this is Kurt Stockwell with Well Dressed Walrus. We are a local website design and development company here in Spokane. What we do is build beautiful, usable websites for local businesses. A website needs to be beautiful, it needs to be usable for your users, your customers, and yourself. Contact us anytime. We'd love to talk with you about your online marketing.
What? You haven't been to the library lately? Stop in today and see that the library is more than books. Spokane County Library District facilities feature on-site technology, including Wi-Fi, computers, and printers, as well as free use of meeting rooms. The Library District offers events and programs for all ages, From story times to career development and employer classes to Social Security workshops, our staff is well trained and happy to help. Find out more about your library at scld.org.
And welcome back to Education 101. Again, we're talking with Brenda Van Slyke about Spokane MESA and MESA as a whole. Right before the break, we were talking about the MESA Project and some of the competition from regional, which it sounds like you guys would have had almost 200 kids competing in that. And then to the state competition, and then you were saying last year you guys even sent some kids to middle school team to Philadelphia for the national competition. So that's amazing. That's a cool program. So what you mentioned that there is a really a focus on what they're supposed to be putting together and put out there. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? And
yeah,
some
absolutely.
of the cool things that they've done.
Yeah, they we like I had said in the past, all teams worked on the same kind of project.
Okay.
And then they just kind of brought their own flair to it or whatever.
Nice.
So last year they had a prosthetic arm. This year, what it was is they really opened it up wide open. And it was a little, we were a little nervous about that because we were like, as far as buying supplies for it, as far as how do you manage all those different projects and stuff.
Right.
But it ended up being one of the most awesome things I've ever seen. We had kids that brought in projects that would help fish get over dams that don't have fish ladders.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Which I was just like, well, we got to get these kids on Shark Tank, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We had kids that had sensors that when you picked up your phone, it would tell you if maybe you needed to drink water because you were verging on dehydration. Because kids said they researched and they found that a lot of kids are dehydrated most of the time.
Really?
And then
we had see that.
Yeah, we had other kids that were testing the water in their schools because they knew that they were in very old buildings and they were concerned about what might be in the water from the pipes. And then that kind of extended to beyond their school to their neighborhoods.
Huh.
I know. So you're getting these kids to start really thinking, about social problems.
Right.
What our society has to face. And I was so impressed by what the kids came up with.
So is it something, and you mentioned, was it a human-based focus, or you had some wording for it, but it seems to me that those are truly current affairs. I mean, I think about some of the water issues out there right now. That's a perfect segue for the kids to be working on it. Looking into dehydration, again, I would probably agree with them, and I could use that on my phone for myself. But is it really that they're focusing on the current issues and trying to find solutions?
Yeah, so I think a lot of the kids, because when they were first told, okay, so we want you to find something that affects people, they're like, well, and we actually kind of put a thematic arc of water at first.
Okay.
Because we weren't quite sure where this was going to go. So then we had some teachers, once they kind of put that out to kids, start saying, well, our kids would kind of like to do something more like this. And we're like, hey, it's really up to you, whatever you feel you can manage. So we had a lot of kids. We had kids that worked on, prosthetic legs and how to get them to be more sensitive to terrain and things like that, so that, the stiffness of like a prosthetic leg and how it, impacts somebody's health and just their comfort and stuff like that. Really amazing. And the kids are super excited to continue these projects next year. Some of them want to move on to something different. They explored what they had and thought, well, that's kind of cool, but either this isn't going to work out quite the way we thought, or we think we could come up with something better, which we told them, whatever you guys want to do, just go for it.
That's that process, but that's, isn't it? It's
almost
you get into that scientific method, if you will, but that's kind of that made-up method, but what they're doing is the real world.
Absolutely.
That's
And
awesome.
The kids were so nervous when it was getting close to competition, and they were like, my poster's not very good. Maybe our idea, our Arduino isn't working out very well. And I just told them, I said, guys, just have fun. Tell us if you're if your prototype isn't working, that's okay. Just explain what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Tell us why you came up with what you did. Because I said, people, scientists and engineers that are working on this all the time have these kind of problems. You guys had a few months to put this together. So please don't stress about that. And once they kind of got calmed down, they just ran with it, and it was so awesome. I mean, we even had things like, we had drones in there to help to see forest fires before you could see them from towers and stuff. Yeah, with heat sensors and stuff, that if you had them down low enough, you could see where maybe the forest was warmer in some areas, because we know that a lot of times with a lightning strike, it actually, the fire starts underneath the ground, and you don't see the smoke, so it's not something you can see. But if they, they're saying, if you could tell it was warm in this area, send people up there to kind of check it out.
Right.
So I was just like,
great.
wow, blown away with the ideas that these kids came up with.
That's awesome. When does that take place? When is that competition?
Our regional competition this next year will be probably around the beginning of April.
Okay.
And then the state competition is right around the end of May. And then the national competition is actually going on, I believe it's either this week or next week. I'm
Oh, really?
not really sure.
That's great.
So
That's great.
Yeah, so the kids are, they're just, it's so exciting for them. And like I said, last year, bringing our middle school team in my first year of having this job was really kind of cool.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
And actually, our middle school team only missed going to state by literally less than 3 points. It was like 2.6 out of like 350 something points.
Same group of kids?
No.
Different
Group of kids.
Wow.
But I'm
that's
just really
great.
proud of what our kids have done in our center. And like I said, there's 6 centers in the state.
I was going to say, there's 6 centers. Where are you guys housed at?
We're housed out of WSU Spokane, right downtown here. And our office is actually over in the Bookie building, the brick building, kind of kitty corner. And then there's Tri-City MESA.
Okay.
There's the First Nations MESA, which is out of the Yakima Nation.
Okay.
And then there's Vancouver, Tacoma, and Seattle.
Okay. Great.
So we're the 6 centers here in the state.
Yeah. Is there any talk of expanding that, or is there capacity to expand beyond 6 centers? Do you know?
Actually, that's really interesting that you asked that, because this last spring I was asked to go to Olympia and help lobby for our program to increase our program. I think it's really important that we look at getting several more centers, but definitely one in Wenatchee area.
That's what I was going to say, kind of that northern middle part of the state.
Yeah, and we've actually expanded the program. We now have, in the last, I think it's 6 years, they have brought in the MESA Community College program, and we just got it for the first time here in Spokane at Spokane Falls Community College.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard about that. That's right.
So super exciting.
So again, that's still that idea of students that I would imagine are in the STEM fields, right? But and underserved populations again, but being able to have that support along the way.
Right, and creating that actual pathway where they have the support. We find that a lot of our students are first gen. So and that just means that like they're the first generation in their family to go to college, so they sometimes don't have that kind of support or knowledge at home. But I'll be perfectly honest, I went to college, my kids are all in college, but when it comes to like doing financial aid, it's the worst thing in the world to have to, navigate through, and especially if you had to do it all alone. So we make sure, so we make sure that we support our families with things like that.
That's great. Good deal. You guys, you mentioned one other activity, and we're starting to let's start to kind of wrap up a little bit, but I know you said that there's, is it a math camp that you guys have going on?
Our Math Scholars program this summer. We kind of started it last summer. It was something that is a part of the MESA program, but really hadn't been done here in Spokane. And I think that there had been several tries at attempting to do it. Just happens that now their director is a math person. And knowing, so it's kind of nice because last year we had just a few students. This year we're having many more students, but it's basically like a bridge program to help the kids to get more comfortable with algebra.
Okay.
And so it's kind of, well, the idea is geared towards middle school kids that are going into algebra, but as a math person, you know that you can never be too solid in algebra. So we've invited all of our students, 7th grade through 12th grade to be a part of this program. So anybody who's feeling like they would either like to come help with the other, things, or, just feel like I just want to make my math skills a little, tighter, or just because they're going into algebra next year, not really knowing what to expect. So we just want to make sure that they feel good and solid in that and supported. And then what we're going to do is throughout the year we have a thing called Saturday Academies. Okay. So every other Saturday during the school year, we are down at WSU. And we open our doors and let kids come in for a couple hours, whether it's to work on their projects. We want to help them with their math, or we're hoping to add a lot of different pieces, whether it's like a parent workshop or college and career readiness. Whatever it is that the kids are needing at that time, we like to open our doors and help them out.
It seems like some great programs you guys have going on, and I'm assuming anybody who's watching or listening, if they Google Spokane MESA, MESA, they'd be able to find you guys, right?
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Brenda, thank you so much for being on the show today. Again, truly enjoyed the conversation and hearing more about how you guys support all these kids throughout the region, throughout the state, and then throughout those 11 states, and I'm excited to get 50 in there. So I think that
definitely
would be good. So thank you for being on the show, and we hope we catch you next time on Education 101. Thanks for being here.
Education 101 is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksOnline.com, which is solely responsible for its content. Education 101 is brought to you by our friends at STCU. Ask Eric a question, recommend a guest, and hear this program again online anytime at SpokaneTalksOnline.com.